Peace and blessings, everyone. Peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Unlocking Your Legacy with Talking Fat. I'm your host, Keith Robertson, the Fin Coach. I'm over here looking, guys. Oh, there it is. I wanted to make sure we were live. We're back, YouTube. We're back after multiple months being on Facebook and having issues. And believe it or not, I even had an issue tonight. I couldn't play our intro, but hey, that's okay. We're here, guys. But look, again, this is Keith Robertson, the Fin Coach, welcoming you back to Unlocking Your Legacy with Talking Fat. And again, that's FAT, PHAT, not FAT, which is an acronym for Purpose, Hope, and Truth. And let's break that purpose, hope, and truth down real quick. Power, unity, all right? It used to be power, understanding, right? But now we're using power, unity. And then we have remember those elders. Then we have planning, got to have a plan, right? That's right. And then, okay, let me go back. Let me slow down. I'm getting all excited, guys. My apologies. Please forgive me. I haven't been here on YouTube in a while. So that is the purpose is power, understanding, remembering, planning, overcoming, seeing, and executing. Hope, helping other people evolve. And then truth is true righteousness unveiled through hearing. Well, I just want to thank you for tuning in. And we say this show is about providing public information that is a lot of time just not public knowledge. But before we start, as we always do, excuse me again, I give praises to the Most High for without who we would not be here. Let's just be realistic about the fact, guys. If it wasn't for the Most High, we wouldn't be here. So we're bringing you information that we feel is useful to our community and to all that will be listening to us. You know, it's a lot going on out here in this world, guys. You know, one of the big things that I see out here that I want to bring forward and talk about is the missing children. We are seeing more and more reports of missing children throughout the U.S. I mean, when we say that, you know, we talk about trafficking and everything that's on the rise, right? But we're seeing more and more missing children. So what we're doing is on our Facebook page and our IG page, I believe we put it on our IG page, but I know on the Facebook page, you know, when individuals are sharing with us, you know, these missing children, we are posting it. So I would ask you to do the same. Because listen, it could be your family that's missing a loved one. It could happen. You know, I'm quite sure those that are posting and seeking to find their loved ones probably thought it would never happen to them. But things happen so quick, guys. So quick. You know, when we look at what's going on around this world. So it's going to take us to operate as a team. You know, part of purpose that I have is like power in the second, the U is for unity. Because we really feel that it's going to take all of us uniting. Because things aren't going to change until we change. When are we going to get into our heads and get an understanding as a collective what has been done to us as a people? When are we going to stop looking to someone else to save us? We have to save ourselves. It's up to us because it hadn't worked so far. Do you see anybody rushing to your aid? I mean, the government is taking away or trying to take away some of the basic rights that are most important to us as people. You know, our constitutional rights are being challenged on every turn. The 14th Amendment is about us, people of color. Do you understand? But we haven't been able to take advantage of it. The most sector of people that have been able to take advantage of the 14th Amendment have been white women, statistically. So now what do we do as a people? We learn to find out, first of all, what it is that we need to move forward. We need financial literacy, guys. I can't say it any other way. We need financial literacy. Without financial literacy, nothing happens. Got a few notes here to kind of help keep me on point because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole and digress like I can on occasion, right? We look at what's going on right now in our government. I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen next because it seems like each and every day things are unprecedented. With these tariffs and what has happened to us concerning these tariffs. April 9th when it was announced and what it did to the market. But then he turned around and suspended it for 90 days. But still it had an adverse effect on the market. But lo and behold, I mean, when we look around our country now and we see what's happening, look at the weather. Look at the weather, guys. And for those of you all who have ears, let them hear. You know what's going on. It's been prophesied that this time would come, where the guard is starting to change. But the powers that be, they're not going to go easily. They're going to hold on as much as they can. But the Most High is in control of all this. And at any given time, all he has to do is just shake and it's over. Just have a thought and it's over. But until that time comes, we have to have an understanding of what's going on. You can't watch the headlines because the headlines are filled with misdirection. Speaking of the tariffs, there were huge tariffs that were stated that was going to be put in place. 20, 30% were going to be put in place. But one of the things you have to look at, these multi-billionaires, the oligarchs, Putin. See what they're doing out there. Are they panicking? What are they doing? What are they buying? Because the way that things have unfolded thus far in the recent days or recent months or the recent years is that our indicators are indicating you shouldn't be in the market. Our indicators are saying that the market should be crashed, but yet still the market is still reaching for higher highs. So, when you look at it, can you imagine when Trump mentioned those tariffs? His billionaire buddies, I'm sure, called him, "Hey man, what are you doing? These tariffs, they're gonna wreak havoc on our business." Oh, no. I'm just using those as a negotiating tool, which we saw, because again, the 90-day suspension came. But August, they're back. And we're gonna see what that outcome is. I mean, the CPI report is showing that the consumer price index is at a 3, and it is better than the last report. And that's the cost of services and goods, or I should say the providers, consumer price index, right? It's better. But as I go to the store, as I look to purchase things, I see prices up. And it's funny about prices, right? A lot of times, once they actually go up for certain things, they don't come down. I do see the housing market making a turn because houses are staying on the market longer. I see the value of houses beginning to drop around the U.S., not only in some of the areas like in certain parts of Texas and certain parts of Florida. This is plummeting, right? But not using those as a landmark or a guideline. It's other parts of the country where housing prices are coming down as well. Here in Virginia, I saw some prices drop $50,000, 50, 30. I did here recently. I got a report on certain houses that have been out there for a while. But we have to be aware of what's going on and get in position for this time. When we look at it, because listen, those multi-billionaires, when they make a move, then we need to make a move and be ready to make a move. Because you can best believe if some type of smart bomb or as they say, World War III caps off, they're going to be in position to take advantage of it. So we need to watch and see how they're spending their money. Are they beginning to buy more gold? Coming out of the equity market and going into something more stable like gold. We have to watch those things because that's the telltale signs. Like I said, out there in the headlines, they can tell you anything because the U.S. dollar, it doesn't have the power that it once had. It's not operating around the world like it once did. When we look at also what's going on when we talk about the positioning of the global market itself. There are a lot of opportunities that are out there. There's a lot of private funding or private funds that are out there waiting to move as well. So kind of keep your eyes open there, but get in position to be able to take advantage of some of these things. Because listen, guys, when we look at it, our unemployment rate is now at a 4.1%, right? Unemployment in the U.S., we say about 7 million people are reportedly unemployed. 221,000 claims here this past week. But listen, there's a great sector that's not even being counted. I know that 7 million number is much higher. When they talked about increase in jobs, yeah, the increase in jobs are 147,000, but 74,000 of them were in the private sector, with 64,000 being teachers that are going to be starting in the fall. These are the things we got to look at. Our labor rate. Look at ADP versus what the job report is saying. And of course, okay. ADP is more the private sector, where the job report has the government jobs in it. We get that, but there's a huge disparity there. When we look at Powell and what's going on, he wants the inflation down to 2%. It's at 2.7 now, but it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. He needs to lower that rate. But you know what? It's an ego thing. It's an ego thing with Powell, because Trump is telling them to lower that rate. But you best believe in April, he's out of there. April, he's out of there. And Trump's going to have he's going to have a puppet in that seat, and that rate will be 1%. When we look at it, the middle class has been decimated. There's no more middle class. The upper 10% is where the wealth is in the country. When we look at it, it's stated that 60% of U.S. citizens have less than $1,000. Less than $1,000 in the bank. Less than 1,000. 70% of U.S. citizens are living paycheck to paycheck. When you look at over 9 million U.S. citizens are in default of their student loans. 10% of FHA loans are in default. We see the coming tide. We see it's turning. But we have to get ready for it. It's stated that you need 2.5 jobs now, or 2.5 incomes in a household for it to run efficiently or effectively or stable, to be able to run itself. Because you always got to keep in mind, 40% of individuals that file bankruptcy, $200, an extra $200 a month would have stopped them from filing bankruptcy. That's a real fact there, guys. So why wait for the layoff to come when the tax laws have been put in place to benefit the business owner, the small business owner? There are again, with the big beautiful bill and all that's going on and the turmoil that's going to create. When we look at housing now they're going to housing assistance is only going to last 2 years. Only 2 years. In some parts of the country, you got 2, 3 generations living on assisted housing, living on Section 8. 4.7 million people could possibly lose their health care benefits because of the big beautiful bill. When we talk about the Medicaid, when you're from ages 19 to 64, able-bodied person, right? What's able-bodied? That means that you're not pregnant, you're not taking care of a dependent child, you're not in a position mentally or physically where you can't hold a job. Say you're going to have to work 20 hours a week or 80 hours a month. Either you're going to have to go to school, have a job, or volunteer in community service, 80 hours a month to be able to qualify for those benefits. You know, I mean, there's some benefits in the big beautiful bill too. You know, being able to write off these expenses, Section 179, being able to write off your some benefit, being able to write off purchases, large purchases. You don't have to depreciate them now. You can write off up to 2.5 million. So it gives these business owners opportunity to go purchase that equipment, possibly expand, get more trucks, more vehicles, more inventory, expand, and bring on and create more jobs. It really could. It really could do that. You know, you're talking about the taxes concerning overtime. You know, and then of course tips. You know, it was a thought one time where it was going to be, oh, overtime and tips going to be tax free. No, that's not the case. They're going to be a tax write off. You know, 12,500 in overtime and up to 25,000 in tips can be actually written off. But as far as that 2.5 household, 2.5 jobs that are needed or sources of income is needed per household, it's so much that you can do out here. It's so much. Don't you have that idea within you? I'm sure you have an idea, something that you've always wanted to do. It's time to do it. Is now. That book that you wanted to write, time to do it is now. That invention that you always wanted to produce, time to do it is now. Maybe that motivational speech that you have in you, time to do it is now. You don't want to be on your deathbed with all your great ideas, you know, all the things you could have done in life standing around you with tears in their eyes, because they know they die with you. But anyway, guys, listen, I just wanted to kind of pop in today and just get this thing warmed up as we come back here on YouTube next week at 8 o'clock. Unlocking Your Legacy with Talking PHAT. We're going to be here with some dynamic insights into more things around the globe and in the U.S. And we have our first sponsor, which is 75 VA Worldwide. 757 VA Worldwide, I should say, is our new sponsor, our only sponsor, our first sponsor. One of many. But guys, we're going to come back each and every week and we're going to drop some insights on you. But I hope you tune in again, you know, just for a casual conversation. But it's about to get heavy. It's about to get heavy, guys. I promise you that. Coming back to YouTube now this first week, you know, just a quick little conversation as we make a segue. But be careful next week. Come back because we definitely have some new insights for you. But anyway, hey, this has been Keith Robinson, a fan coach. I thank you for tuning in. Remember, action and knowledge leads to power, peace, and blessings. Hope to see you next time.